Oh, that's convenient. Okay, so I'm just here. I had some ideas. I knew that taking a break was going to give me some new insights, a fresh new perspective, which was exactly what I was looking for. So, I have a couple ideas. First things first, this... Well, I should start from the beginning, actually. Which would be right over here. Yes, every other puzzle on this island has given you some pieces of information. First things first, it gives you a symbol to know what island you're going to be copying from. It gives you some indicator as to the room you're going to be copying from on that island, and then, finally, it gives you a symbol to show you what it is you're trying to copy. So in this case, Earth Island on that room, and you're copying 2 boxes. Then we go to this room. Similar idea. We have, all the way on the left, we have that water symbol. Then we have the room, and then we have this symbol here, which is for the 4 holes. That's what you're trying to copy. Then for this, we have a similar thing, except there's 2 of them. This is for, obviously the symbol for the big fire island, and then this symbol down here shows that you're copying the elementals. And we also have this symbol for the air island, for this completely separate thing over here. For this one, you're not really copying anything. You're not trying to recreate anything. Instead, you're just recognizing what's already there as another thing. And then we get to this room. So obviously, we have this symbol here, and that's clearly meant to be what it is you're trying to copy, which is just the layout of solid versus non-solid things. The thing that was getting me was, where's the indication that shows you what island and what room you're supposed to be copying from? But then I realized, what if the symbol that shows you the right island was actually this one, the pyramid? Because I remembered that the new island has that symbol. We also have this arrangement over here, which, just this upper left part could potentially be seen as an eye in a vague pyramid shape. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is that this whole formation is referring to the serpent, as I kind of suspected that it might. And then, we're meant to copy something else. We're meant to have another hint as to where we're copying from. Namely this double platform here. Because there is a very specific room in the Snake Island that has this double thing. It's rotated, but that's fine, because we've already established that rotated arrangements are a thing, and, and this arrangement, if it was a snake, would be facing left while the normal one faces up, so it all works out. So, let's start with the easier of the 2 possibilities, which is going to the Pyramid Island. The new island with the new music. See, one of the things that always kind of threw me off about that room was the fact that you just get a pyramid for free by walking in. But what if it was meant to serve a dual purpose? There is a pyramid symbol here. There is. I mean, every one of... This has 3 pyramid symbols, but there's nothing in here. There's not even a pyramid in this room. Plus, I don't even think you're supposed to be... I don't think I was supposed to find that this early. I'm still hanging on to the theory that, whatever that is was supposed to be found after getting the last pyramid. I'm still theorizing that getting all the pyramids allows me to see other stuff. But anyway, we have this. The question is, what exactly does this mean? Do I see any features that kind of resemble it? Yeah, what would I be trying to match up here? If this was accurate, I think it would have to be rotated in some way. The question is, how? There's definitely a lot of solid spaces here. But there also seems to be a lot of extra information. So, 1, 2, 3. See, like, where the 2 holes are, it lines up with the double platform, which is interesting. I don't know if this arrangement quite makes sense. It's an idea, though. I'll take a screenshot just in case I ever want to look at this again. Okay, so this is the heart. That might correspond with that big grass patch. Oh, there also is just a pyramid symbol in this room. That is true. But the arrangement of this room seems real weird. Yeah, no, it doesn't line up. I know that for certain because there's a rock in the room on the shoal that just isn't here. Yeah, I don't think this is it. The room I was actually interested in is a little bit further down. And that's this. Oh, this is 3. I thought this was 2. Well, there was also this, which is... There's no way I'm recreating this. Just because... Yeah, nah. Walking to everything is just gonna ruin everything. So maybe this idea isn't as valid as I thought. The only real thing I don't know is this, like, arrangement of platforms intentional? It seems like it is, but it's just kind of bizarre. Maybe it is. Because... Oh, thank you. I finally got the achievement. 15 minutes of that was because of that one waiting for the freaking sleeping thing to do something. Maybe it is rotated and mirrored. That's so... it's such a stretch, but, like, maybe. Because it does kind of jut out like that. It's the snake head, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, the Pyramid Island doesn't seem to be working out. Things just don't line up right. The pre-placed rocks do, thankfully, put some restrictions on what has to be there. And the Pyramid Island failed the test. Very much. That was awesome. Okay. What's really getting me is the weird shape of that room. What else even looks like that? I don't know. I don't think... I hate to say it, but it might be referring to something else. What could it be? Maybe it's here. Hell if I know. feel like the answer has to come down to that double pedestal. I can't even, like, think of any islands that even have that. That's what I'm looking for right now, because I have completely abandoned, like, all other clues, because they clearly just haven't done the thing. Why am I going here? I already know there's nothing here. Goodbye. I feel like... Because, like, there's no reason for that to be a pedestal. It has to be a hint. Clearly, the other hints that may or may not exist in that room just haven't connected. So, let me look for something that's unmistakable instead. However long that takes. May as well look at this place. But obviously not. There's not even any pedestals here. Part of me was wondering if I was supposed to recreate the, like, bird symbol, but sideways, I guess. Like that's the thing that's weird about it. Like I've had, like, no indication that the thing I'm supposed to be putting together is sideways at all. So, like, I feel like I shouldn't have to struggle so hard to try to get something to work. Ideally, it should just work. And then we move on with our lives. Like, when I look at it, it should just make sense. What if I haven't even found what the place is yet? I don't know how that's possible, but, like, at this point, what isn't possible? A lot of things. Too many things, actually. Alright. I don't know what the heck else to look for. May as well take one more trip to this place. Yep, nope. Just as useless as ever. Goodbye. I think that's exactly what it is. But how does that make any sense? I think this formation on the left is not a snake, like I originally thought. I think it's actually a turtle. And I think that's telling me that the solution is on the world map. Okay. I am out of ideas again. I think... Because the thing is, I can't just ignore the symbol that tells me I need to copy a block arrangement. Like, that must remain true, even if, no matter what the other clues are. So, I'm gonna take a break. I need to, like, clear my head and approach this with a fresh perspective again. I feel like I'm just throwing a lot at the wall, honestly. Because the thing is, like, at first I thought I was trying to, like, reinterpret something else, including but not limited to the entire world map, which did not work out very well. But again, I just have to trust that when I stumble into the right idea, I'll know it. Like, I'll be able to tell. Until then, I'm just guessing, honestly. I don't know how much longer I want to keep guessing. really feels like I'm grasping at straws. There is also the distinct possibility that I just don't have the right information to solve this puzzle somehow. I kind of doubt it, though. There's just I'm stuck between multiple interpretations that just all seem to be wrong. So I just gotta step back and see if I can come up with any other ideas. That's all for now. Alright, welcome back. You may be wondering what I'm doing here again. And the answer is, I gave in. I looked up the answer to the last puzzle because I just wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't fully intending on doing that. I was initially just gonna look to see if I could get sort of guided to that answer without being fully spoiled, but once I saw what the answer was, well, you'll see. So, yeah. So, if you remember this room, this is the room that corresponds to one of the puzzles on the Eastern Shoal. You know, the previous room from the one that I haven't solved yet. And the key is to go to this room. The idea is that because this room is adjacent to this other room, you're meant to use it to solve the puzzle in the room that's adjacent to that one. You'll see this spot here corresponds to the spot where the starfish was, because a star used to be here, and then we have this little staircase that corresponds to that platform. So, I already got the screenshot, so let's just head back over so you'll see what I mean. Let's just do it. I'll actually approach the room from this angle. So you can see this area over here was the one that corresponded to the bells. You know, when you solve it, you go through, and then that leads you to this room, and you can see the starfish and the little platform there. So, yeah, that's the idea. And let me see if I gotta copy this. 1, 2, is that 1 block or 2? I don't freaking know. Well, it has to be that. Yep, that was it. Sheesh. Oh, goodbye. Alright, the question of the hour. Do I get anything for getting all of these? Nothing has immediately happened, and I still have this egg thing in my map screen. So, yeah. I don't I'm a little bit disappointed, I should say. I think the idea behind this puzzle is fine. The game clearly is willing to explore a lot of different ideas, and I think that's great. But the problem is, it just doesn't give you enough information. There were 2 other puzzles that I saw people not liking very much, which was the flags puzzle and the file name puzzle. But I actually think both of those were fine, because they both had, like, extra symbols and stuff that broke from the, like, usual symbol language that the game was presenting, which gave me the idea that I needed to explore other ideas. This puzzle, on the other hand, also revolves around an idea that you don't use anywhere else, but doesn't give you any direction. And also this thing over here means absolutely nothing. But of course, I have no way of knowing that, because when the game just doesn't give you details, you have no way of knowing what's worth paying attention to and what's just aesthetic. Like, I guessed that this star was relevant, but it could have just as easily not been relevant. Like this pyramid symbol, it could have been relevant, but in this case it wasn't. I just think that the execution of this puzzle wasn't handled super well. It needed like an extra symbol or two put somewhere to introduce the idea of adjacent rooms corresponding to adjacent rooms. Or, another idea I had was to maybe move this puzzle to another island that revolved around the idea of adjacent rooms a bit more. That way, it builds it up as an idea, and then drops this one as a twist that gives you less information, but you have a pattern that you can just work from at that point. But without that, I was just stuck. I've mentioned before that I don't like giving up on puzzles, and this isn't the first time I've had to do it for the channel. But last time, I think I sort of deprived myself of the opportunity to solve the puzzle by like giving up a little too early, not taking a break, tunnel visioning too hard, things like that. For this one, I don't really think I had a chance. I think I handled it better. I intentionally took breaks, and I've tried all kinds of different perspectives. I was just missing the information. So, yeah, a little disappointed that I had to look it up, but at the point I was at, there was no chance of me actually solving this. The only chance I had of coming to the solution myself would be to just visit every island and look for rooms that kind of match this one. And I didn't want to do that, because that's essentially just trial and error in disguise. And once you reach the point where you're doing that, you're not really solving anything anymore. You're getting to the solution without the understanding. But, yeah, I just don't think the opportunity for that understanding was ever really there to begin with. It's just too much of a leap in logic. Now the real question is, what the heck do I do with all these pyramids? I was kinda hoping that they would mean something. I can, go back and check out a couple of hot spots and see if anything makes sense. But apart from that, I think I'm coming to the conclusion of this series. There's definitely more secrets around. We've seen little hidden things all over the place. But the problem is that they're a little too hidden. I've already made several trips around like every island just looking for things that are out of place. And I don't really want to keep doing that for that much longer. Especially once we've gotten to the point where all the secrets that are remaining, the game is just straight up hiding stuff and giving like no indication of how to even approach them. I was satisfied in, getting this egg and the whole side quest that led to that. I just happened to notice a detail that was out of place and that led to a whole thing. But what I didn't like is how, once I, finished all that, I just got dropped off at a random spot, and, it just so happened to be a room that I was trying to reach before. It basically confirms that attempting to search near the points of interest is a waste of time, and there is no indication about where I should be searching. I just have to search everywhere, which sucks. I don't want to do that. I've already kind of been doing that, and I would like to move on to other things. Like this tree stump, for example. Could it mean something? Who knows? Sometimes the game does things just for the purpose of aesthetic. There's also this room up here that I've never, figured out how to reach. There's something going on, but who knows? Like, there's no point in trying to search this island. I've already done that. And the solution could be anywhere in the game. And there's a lot of places to search. Just too many to be reasonable. Like, there could be something hidden here. There's no indication on the map or the world map or anything of the sort. So, I'm just out of luck. Like, there could be maybe a symbol that I need to draw here. I have no clue. Like, I've drawn 2 symbols and gotten, like, rewarded for it. But I have no idea what that's even relevant to. It just... It all seems very directionless. It's hidden, it's covered its tracks a little too well. I only like, pursuing these sorts of things as long as there's some sort of reasoning that leads to it. I like exploring, like, the depths of logical systems, and we've kind of... The problem is that there's not much logic behind it. There's so many ways that for the game to hide secrets at this point. Like, we had the little eye symbols that marked secrets. That was good. We had the little crown item that reveals more secrets, and that was fine. But what is up with these other secrets? No indication whatsoever, aside from just, maybe you notice something out of place somewhere randomly? It's interesting to have as a little something for people who want to just, look at every last detail of everything, but I'm just not one of those people. I obsess over systems, not details. Yeah, there's still nothing here. Alright. Get me out of here. So, yeah, there definitely is still more to do, but if I wanted to do it, I would just have to start looking up, like, everything, and I really don't want to do that. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just try to confirm to myself whether or not there's any more details, maybe some certain spots that I haven't looked at as closely as I could have. Like here, maybe? Like, I've definitely checked this place out a couple of times, but maybe not that closely. It's really hard to know. Alright, well, I don't know how much of that you're gonna see. So, I realized that all 4 of the big islands have, like, this spiral formation in one of the rooms. What does it mean? No clue. Didn't do anything when I interacted with it in like every way I could think of. Aside from the water island spiral making a little squeaky noise when I stepped on it. Kind of like some of those mushrooms in the caves. That didn't really tell me anything though. It seems important, but again, I have no direction, so it's like, what am I supposed to do? There's probably somewhere, there's probably something somewhere else that tells me how to interact with it, but God knows I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm willing to, take one more look. Just because, like, once I go to the ending, and it's probably not going to reveal anything. I'm getting that feeling. But, like, once that happens, I'm done. I'm done with this game. I'm not going to bother looking it up. I'm just going to let the mysteries stay mysteries. This is, this over here is definitely a reward for something else. Like, you're clearly meant to approach that from the other side, like... The problem I have with it is that, like, this is basically the third way that the game has chosen to hide stuff. And it just seems to violate the rules that it has set up until this point. It just means that I can't really trust anything, and I just have to try random stuff. And that's no good. There's also this godforsaken room. Well, it didn't do anything. That was the only idea I had. I suppose that's it then. Let's turn in these... Let's just see the end of the game. There might be something special for me once I get all, now that I have all the pyramids and I go with freaking Gaia, maybe there'll be something. If not, that's just where this series ends, I suppose. Yep, seen this part. Is this something new? Now that I've gotten all the friggin'... Yes, okay. Oh, you're giving them intelligence. That actually makes so much sense. That was it, wasn't it? That was my reward. Alright. I'll fast forward through this, and then once I get back into the game, I'll give my final thoughts. Cool, man. I love that it counted this egg. Yeah, one quick thing I wanted to mention. If you look above the letters of my file name, you actually see the symbols, which is, I'm pretty sure how you're actually supposed to solve the file name puzzle, but I just sort of unraveled the system underneath it and solved it that way. So, yeah. Pretty neat detail. Oh yeah, I forgot this just takes you here. Get me out of here. It seems that the game does not want to offer me any sort of direction for the rest of what it has. So, I'm done. Maybe I'll just stroll through it a little bit and find something, but I want to at least... I don't want to just immediately look up every answer and spoil it for myself. I want to at least leave the option open for me to continue to discover things. So, yeah, I enjoyed the game quite a lot. Obviously, you know, all of the mechanics and the way they interact was very fun. The mysterious update was a lot of fun once I got through, you know, the initial hurdle. But, like, the game very clearly has, like, an intended sort of route of progression. And the thing about it is that it doesn't really have any way of rewarding you of discovering things early. And, in fact, it seems to actively discourage you from doing that. Which is something that I don't particularly agree with, but it's, you know, it's an option. There are also a couple of things where it's like, you can kind of discover it early, just because they seem to have forgotten to cover up everything. So it's just a little bit wacky. I was like, obviously this game's meant for like puzzle solvers of all, you know, different types of skill levels, which is really cool. I think it does a great job at that. The fact that it has like so many different types of rewards, like the keys, the gems, the stars, and everything. It's a very nice system. But sometimes I feel like the perception of difficulty can get a little bit thrown off. It's not exactly like a foolproof system. But like it works well for the most part, and like anything that doesn't exactly click very well, like the devs are obviously very passionate about this game, and they've been making a bunch of patches, so it's like it could get better at any time. hard to say. Clearly it's meant to offer a lot for people to just keep coming back, which it does. It definitely has. I don't know. I just don't like sort of stumbling around randomly. I like to have at least a little bit of direction. That's why it was so nice. That's why I liked seeing the little new sparkles that showed where the pyramids were. You know, it was enough to give me that bit of where to look. Everything that's left has no hints. Nothing on the serpent eyes, nothing on the map, or anything of that sort, so... Like, at this point, it's like, the solution is just whatever the devs say it is. It's not really guided by any particular mechanic or system or anything. So, it doesn't seem like there's much to really solve at this point. So, I either find it or I don't. Now, I found the one on Beast Ridge, and that was cool to see. Now, the spirals on the 4 big islands seem to mean something. You know, the shapes that you can draw out, who knows how many more there are of those, and what that actually means, if anything. I think it's just... It might just be puzzles. I think it might just be like... It might be intended to be like a community-wide effort. Which is fine, but like... Not my style. I like to, you know, figure out everything that I can tackle myself. Yeah, overall, a great experience, though. Like, a couple of, like, weird patches in there, but, like, overall, I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, the music's quite nice. You know, the variety of puzzles and gimmicks and all that was good. You know, all the variety of of puzzle ideas was fun as well. And I feel like for the most part, the game did a good job of cluing you in on certain things, just by sort of presenting you with things enough for you to sort of pick up on it eventually. That being said, you know, I've been, you know, doing this game for the channel for definitely more than long enough at this point. And I'm ready to move on. I'm content with leaving things as they are now. If I do find anything more, it'll probably just be on my own time, if I feel like it. But, yeah, that's most of what I had to say. There were a lot of things I could say, but ultimately I think it's just kind of over-explaining. Like, I came up with a couple of ideas of, like, how the, you know, the puzzle that I did look up, how it could have been maybe presented better. So that turned into, like, a whole, you know, side tangent that I could go into more detail about the nature of, like, logical systems and all that, but I think that's just a bit overkill. Ultimately, I think the way that things have played out kind of speaks for itself. I'll be glad when, you know, I finish actually editing and uploading all of this. Because then I'll finally get to move on to something new. Which is exciting, because it's been so freaking long since that happened. I got a couple of things in the works. So stay tuned. You know, I'm looking forward to keep doing more. Until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching all the way through, if you made it this far. And, like always, until next time, goodbye for now.